I am here with John Rippingale from Sudlows, who is the new CEO of Sudlows. John, thank you so much for joining me.
Pleasure to be here.
And congratulations. I believe you, in May, was it you announced as CEO?
Yes, it was more of a transition from managing director to CEO. What I'm doing day to day hasn't really changed. I'm still responsible for all of Sudlows Consulting. It's more in line with what we're doing in terms of our growth strategy, new markets, and looking at the business as a whole, taking us from 200 employees up to 500. We want to make sure we can support our clients' growth. We have a lot of clients we work with in the Middle East who are now branching out into countries in Africa, Europe. It's just being there for that journey with them to best support them and realign our structure so that, I've had a lot of team with me for a number of years who started when we were a 10, 15 person company. So I'd like to reward the guys and girls who've been there with me to help grow the company and also give them that opportunity to progress into director roles. We've opened up obviously COO, CTO, so all of these roles are now available as we transition to the new structure. So it gives everyone a chance to grow and develop, and also opportunity for some new fresh talent to come into the company.
Very exciting. I want to take a step back because you have a really interesting story of how you've kind of gone from a one-person shop in Dubai to now the CEO. Can you share with us your journey?
Yeah, so it's been about 10 years in November that I moved to Dubai to open Sudlows' first international office. Started out on a one-bedroom apartment on the dining room table, employee one of one. And it was a tough 3 years building our reputation, our brand, understanding the market, having not worked in the Middle East, who to work with, who the main players are. And back then the industry was really at its infancy. Data centers were half a megawatt, not what we see today where we're doing 30, 40, 50 megawatt builds in one shot. So I'd say the first 3 years were really tough, and there's a few times, the other directors know I nearly thought about throwing the towel in, this isn't going to work, but then suddenly we got the right break with a few companies, we got that reputation going, started to bring on staff. Word got around that Sudlows is the go-to specialist for data centers, because unlike our competition, we only work in data centers, we don't get involved in anything else. We want to be known as the critical infrastructure specialist across the whole project life cycle. And then fast forward to now, opened up our India office where the team's going on 100 strong, touched over a gigawatt of projects, working with 4 or 5 major clients now. We've got end user agreements with the hyperscalers on direct frameworks. Saudi we opened about a year ago, legally incorporated this year, but already we're just shy of 300 megawatts of projects. We've got a team of 20 there, so total we're about 200, and I say in the last 3 to 4 years that's really accelerated. A lot of that's down to the fact of the growth in demand in the region, the hyperscalers coming, taking up quite a lot of space, but also our personal relationships with our good trusted clients like Casner's and Gulf Data Hub, appreciating the services we do as a specialist. Yeah.
That's a lot of growth in a very short period of time. I can imagine you've just had no time to breathe. So as the CEO, what would you say your first 30, 60, 90 days is going to look like?
We're setting out on a journey now we want to triple our turnover and go to from 200 to 500. So the first 30 days has really been planning what that looks like. If you know where you're going, you can work out how to get there. So we've started with the end game in mind, then we're working backwards of how that looks in terms of our team strength, where that growth is going to come from, new markets. There's a number of clients now that we're working with who are entering countries we're not present in, and neither are they. So I've said, look, give us the green light, we'll go and incorporate there, put team on the ground so we can then support you from the UAE into those new countries. I can't say where they are in case competition's listening, but but that's the sort of discussions we're having now. Obviously the Saudi market is really interesting for us. It's really just starting to get going. People are talking maybe 4 or 5x of what the UAE is. So automatically that's a huge jump in sort of revenue potential for us as long as we can find the right skill set. So we're now looking to go out to universities, start the grad scheme. I think everyone knows that the talent pool dried up, but that's because you've got consultants recruiting, you've got the contractors, you've got the developer operators recruiting, you've got the equipment suppliers recruiting as well, and then you've also got the end users, the tenants, the Microsoft, Google's, Amazon, they're all recruiting in region. So suddenly you've got this vacuum, and there's not that volume of people coming in terms of how we've grown from projects of 5, 10 megawatts doing now multiple 30, 40 megawatt projects. These are highly intense, highly engineering dependent projects which go under extreme due diligence from the tenants for the built to suit project. So it takes a lot of skilled resource, because as a consultant, if we're not adding value to our clients, we need to be smarter or be inputting into them, otherwise there's no use for us. So that's some of the challenges, but easily we can see that transition happening with the growth. And we take India, for example. Given India's now just overtaken China in terms of population, it's still hugely underserved in terms of data center capacity. I mean, I think a year or two ago it had a seventh of the data center capacity of China, and China's already growing as well. So if you 7x, that's a lot of projects. And obviously each project still takes about 2 to 3 years we've got a lot of time to do that, but it's easily achievable if we bring on the right team and support our clients.
So you mentioned that obviously labour is one of your priorities that you want to sink your teeth into. What else would you say is something you're really eager to get that would make changes in the industry for?
We need to do things smarter and more efficiently in terms of how we deliver projects. We have a lot of new clients we work with now. With established clients, they understand that data center is capex intensive, but you want to get that facility designed, built, and handed over as quickly as possible, because then you start generating revenue. You want things to be simple. We don't want to be trying anything new, because that has a risk with the SLAs for customers. But there's a lot of obviously new players coming into the market. People sometimes trying to reinvent the wheel, overcomplicate it. So we want to really go, back to basics and have things that are repeatable. No one's under any misunderstanding of the demand that is there, and we need to be able to deliver it quickly as consultants, as operators, as contractors. So we need to keep the model simple, meet the requirement of the client, do a good job, and then move on to the next project.
So what growing trends are you seeing from your customers? Like you mentioned, you have India now, you've got the Middle East, Asia as well, you guys are moving into?
AI is driving the density, so liquid cooling, on-chip cooling is now, everyone wants their facility to be ready for it, and any facility can easily be made ready for it. And I think I gave this at a panel talk recently, that you can have any old facility, if you've got chilled water system, you can make it ready for chip cooling quite easily with a few changes. What you won't benefit is from the efficiency. Unless you're changing your design for external heat rejection to suit the new temperatures, you're never going to get that benefit of efficiency. And that's something that I really want to see the chip manufacturers doing. And currently the water temperatures, they work really well in Europe and North America for free cooling, but in the Middle East we're at 50, 55 degrees in summer. So we really need to see those water temperatures going up so that we can actually benefit from that. We're doing a few test schemes with clients now, and we still have to allocate chillers for the cooling in summer, which it negates all of the benefits of having it, because what we want to do is that utility power comes in. We don't want it to be a PV of 1.5, 1.6. We want it to be 1.2 so that we can get more power to the IT load, more sellable space, more dollars per kilowatt, happy customer.
You mentioned AI, and this is obviously a trend and everyone's talking AI. What do you see the challenges, or how has it impacted your customer requirements? You mentioned liquid cooling, but...
I think it's not being fixed on the requirement. Trying to design something or even build something that is a jack of all doesn't really work with a data center. You kind of have to fix on, it's that capacity, it's that type of technology. Otherwise you end up with a Frankenstein design, and every flexibility that you build into a design costs the operator more money. It also gives a risk to SLAs, reduces efficiency. So it's knowing what customer wants, and I think as AI is evolving and requirements are changing, new chipsets are being released with different types of cooling requirements, it's very difficult to design something now, which is a 12 to 16 week process, but then you're going to build it, which is a 20 to 24 month process. So in that time, how many times are the requirements going to change or develop, or a new chipset's going to come out, and then the design is obsolete? It's really challenging now for us as consultants to try and give that one shoe fits all to our client.
So how do you see, of course, sustainability achievements in this industry? Have we been progressing? Are we still at the kind of beginning?
It's number one on all of the RFPs we received. It's number one of all the discussions and at the forefront of what we all are doing. We need to be doing it, given the immense power we're using already and what we're going to be using in the future with AI. But what sustainability means many different things, from both a we can make an efficient design, but sustainability and efficiency is an investment. If you look at the 10-year life cycle, TCO, you'll get a payback, but still a lot of customers are looking at that day one capex. There's immense competition in the market to sellers at the lowest dollar per kilowatt. There's competition now, especially in established markets, and that price is being driven down by the hyperscalers. But they're the ones who are also encouraging sustainability. Well, if you're happy to pay for it, then that can be achieved. So it's about looking at the supply chain as well. Touching back on the liquid cooling, this is something I feel can have a huge impact on the PUE, which is the day-to-day running costs of the facility. So over the next few years, we'll transition into a lot of facilities. Definitely in the Middle East, there's big scope to improve energy efficiency, just because of the nature of the climate we're working in. The play on renewables is, we get questions, should this be part of the developer operator's responsibility, or should it be part of the utility power? The network should be providing that and giving commitments. It's not at a business level, it's at a country governmental level. So we really need to see more incentive and drive from the government to be putting renewable power onto the grid. And then yes, the data center operator can uptake that power, but to then burden them with the cost of having that generation themselves, again, we're adding cost on the day one, how that's going to be split out as a scheme over the life of the project. If it's going to be funded as an investment by the tenant, lots of different ways it can work. But again, I personally feel that it should be done at the power generation level.
So final question, what excites you most about the industry and the future?
For me as an engineer, the size of the projects we're doing, the density of the loads that we're doing, which big power, big cooling systems, the intricacy of some of them, it's just really fascinating working on. It's like big boys' toys, I guess, and that's for me why I like data centers, and yeah, I'll always try and visit when we're doing the final IST testing, because that's the fun when you're getting everything switched on and you're really translating what was on a drawing to construction, but then you're operating as it's supposed to be. So I guess for me, every project has its intricacies and its challenges. That's the best thing, is seeing that realization from, we're talking about this plan of a campus of 500 megawatts in India, to then suddenly, right, we've built 3 buildings, they're operating, and we're planning the next few. That's really exciting to be part of that journey, and I think generations on will look back these decades where we've had this boom in AI, and all those people involved in it can go, we built that facility, that first of its kind, the biggest one in the UAE, biggest one in Saudi. It's quite a proud moment to say we're part of that and contributing to the future growth of civilization, and hopefully the robots won't take over, because otherwise everyone will blame us that we facilitated it, but we're not there quite yet. So that's kind of what gets me up in the morning, and working with bright-minded people who again share the same passion for what we do, and just deliver the project, move on to the next, and keep looking forward.
Wonderful, John. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you,
Have fun
Zena.
tonight.